There are numerous misconceptions surrounding missions that influence our involvement or lack thereof. So today, I'm going to share 5 of them with you because I want you to know that being involved in global missions is far more involved than simply going. Hey, Steve here at Silk Road Catalyst. As you listen, I encourage you to think about people who need some fact-checking against these misconceptions, and then share this video with them. And while you do it, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Now let's get to it. Misconception number 1, you must relocate or you must go to another country. That may have been true long ago, at least for the most part, but it's not true in the 21st century because there are numerous ways you can engage globally by never stepping foot on a plane. You can pray, you can give, and you can serve the nations globally by serving locally. Because for many of us, God has brought the nations into our community. Misconception number 2, you have to ditch your skills, passions, and giftings. This boggles my mind when I hear people explain how they gave up everything, their skill sets, in the name of being a church planter. You don't need to do that. God gave you your skills, your passions, and your giftings for a reason. Don't trash them. Use them. Engage through them. In my opinion, to toss them away in the name of reaching people for Christ is like telling God He was wrong about how He made you. Just don't do it. Leverage them and leverage them well. Misconception number 3, we should only support nationals, not those expensive foreign missionaries. But I get it. To send a Western missionary does take a lot of money, and supporting nationals generally does not, or at least not as much. But it's not about the money. It's about supporting those called by God, and God does call the Westerner and foreigner as much as He calls the nationals. We all have a role to play, and we need to get behind all whom God has called, regardless of where they come from or how much it takes to support them. Believe me, neither a national nor a foreigner can reach the nations alone. We truly need the whole church engaging the whole world together. Misconception number 4, only church planters are needed. Some will imply this or say it, but it's simply not true. I'm not the church planter any longer, but my involvement today is no less critical than it was when I was the church planter in Asia, because I'm using my skills, my experiences, and my passions to undergird what's taking place on the field. The reality is the vast majority of cross-cultural missionaries would not be on the field if it were not for people serving in support style roles like myself. There are a number of ways you can serve the nations behind the scenes and still play a critical role in reaching the nations. And finally, misconception number 5, you are not called to serve the nations. You may not be called to serve abroad, but you are called to be involved. Every one of you can pray. Most of you can give something, and in the 21st century, God has brought the nations to many of our communities, and that alone means you are called. Because when someone says they're not called to the nations, what they are generally implying is that they are not called to serve abroad, but they're called to serve their local community. So if you are called to your community, as most of you are, the majority of you have the nations living among you. So in light of that, you are in fact called to serve the nations. I'll see you next time.